Imagine this scenario. California, sometime in the not too distant future. Climate change has brought about drought and rising sea levels. Wildfire season is getting out of control. If you're middle class, you live in a gated neighborhood. Public schools have started to become privatized. Even whole towns have started being sold to companies. And there's a presidential candidate who is running on a platform to make America great again, to bring us back to this place of nostalgia when everything was all okay. That's the setting for this amazing book, which is called Parable of the Sower. It was written by a woman named Octavia Butler way back in the early 1990s. And if you think it sounds a little bit prescient and prophetic, it certainly is. Parable of the Sower tells the story of a 15-year-old black girl named Lauren. And this is the world that Lauren grows up in. But Lauren is an amazing, amazing person. And in this bleak future, she finds hope and she finds meaning. Lauren's actually afflicted with this condition called hyperempathy, which Octavia Butler invents. But Lauren is able to feel the pain and feel the suffering of everyone around her. And in some ways it makes life so much harder, but in some ways it opens Lauren up to the truth of the interdependence of all people in this world. Lauren becomes the leader of this group of migrants in this story that take this amazing walk up the coast of California and sort of create their own community, their own chosen family. Lauren studies Native American planting practices. She even founds her own religion, which she calls Earthseed. All of that is contained in this book, Parable of the Sower. And if you're like me, you've turned to science fiction more and more in the last few years as the world changes and gets more extreme, whether it's science fiction movies or science fiction books. Lots of people have looked towards The Handmaid's Tale and even 1984. But for me, this is the pick of the lot, the Parable of the Sower. Octavia Butler wrote it, like I said, in the early 1990s, and Octavia Butler was born in Pasadena, California. She grew up there and she knew she wanted to be a writer, but she didn't have many models for black female writers, especially black female writers who focused on science fiction. There weren't many science fiction books that centered the lives of black women. So Octavia Butler had to do that herself. She wrote a handful of amazing books. This one is my personal favorite. I recommend it to you. And so today and this week, we are lifting up the life and the work of Octavia Butler. Praise be to God. Amen.